Your phone buzzes on the desk. It is a simple, short text message from your partner, your boss, or a close friend. There are no exclamation points, no emojis, just a plain, ordinary sentence. Instantly, your chest tightens. Your mind immediately rushes into a dark room, frantically trying to decode the hidden meaning behind those few words. Did I do something wrong? Are they mad at me? Are they pulling away? You spend the next 20 minutes drafting a reply, carefully choosing every single syllable, deleting and rewriting, terrified that a wrong word might trigger a conflict. You tell yourself that you're doing this because you're an empath, a deeply sensitive soul who can feel the unexpressed energy of others. But let us look through a much clearer glass today. What if that psychological radar is not a spiritual gift? What if it's a beautifully disguised survival mechanism? What if you're not actually an empath? What if you're just highly traumatized? It is an incredibly comforting thought to believe that your ability to read between the lines like a psychic is a rare spiritual power. It gives a beautiful, noble meaning to the exhausting emotional overwhelm you experience every single day. It makes the heavy burden of carrying everyone else's baggage feel like a sacred mission. But deep clinical psychology reveals a much rawer, more liberating truth. For many of us, this extreme emotional sensitivity was not something we were simply born with. It was forced upon us by our childhood environments. It's not hyper-empathy, it's hypervigilance. There is a profound, life-altering difference between a heart that naturally overflows with compassion and a mind that has been brutally trained by past pain to constantly scan for danger. If you've spent your whole life feeling everything so deeply that it physically hurts, you are not broken. Today, we are going to understand why your brain learned to confuse survival with spiritual empathy and how you can finally lay down a burden that was never yours to carry. To understand where this exhausting radar comes from, we have to travel back to where your story began. In a healthy, emotionally secure childhood, a child is allowed to just exist. They don't have to worry about whether their parents are angry, depressed, lonely, or unstable. Their only job is to play, make mistakes, and grow. Their environment is a safe harbor. But for some of us, home did not feel like a harbor. It felt like walking through an active minefield. You had to learn how to read the atmospheric pressure of the house the absolute second you opened the front door. You listened to the specific volume of footsteps in the hallway. You analyzed the tone of a simple hello. Was mom in a good mood today? Was dad drinking again? Was an invisible storm brewing behind closed doors? When your emotional safety depends entirely on the unpredictable moods of the adults around you, your young brain adapts in a way that's both brilliant and tragic. It develops an incredibly sharp, hypersensitive radar. You became an expert at anticipating their needs before they even knew they had them. If you could keep them calm, if you could make them happy, then you wouldn't get screamed at, you wouldn't be abandoned. This was not because you were a spiritually advanced child, it was because predicting their anger or sadness was your only way to survive. You learned to completely suppress your own feelings, your own identity to accommodate theirs, because an unhappy adult meant imminent danger. Decades later, you are no longer a helpless child, but that radar is still running on full power, consuming your energy even though the original threat is long gone. But here's where it gets even more interesting. When this survival radar follows you into your adult relationships, it completely distorts how you connect with other human beings. You find yourself labeled as the ultimate fixer, the perfect listener, or the therapist of your social circle. People love being around you because you always know exactly what they need to hear and you never push back. You absorb their anxiety, their grief, and their anger, carrying it around like a heavy lead weight. You wear your exhaustion like a badge of honor, calling yourself an empath, and this is the part most people completely miss. You don't do this purely out of altruism or unconditional love. You do it because other people's negative emotions trigger a deep unconscious panic inside of you. When someone close to you is upset, disappointed, or quiet, your traumatized brain signals that you are in immediate danger. To stop the internal panic, you immediately try to fix their mood. You over-explain your actions. You apologize for things you didn't even do, and you aggressively erase your own boundaries just to keep the peace. You tell yourself, I'm just doing this because I care so much about them, but psychologically, you're chasing a sense of safety. You have falsely learned a dangerous rule. If everyone else is calm and happy, only then am I allowed to breathe. It's a profoundly exhausting way to live because you're constantly giving away the keys to your emotional peace to anyone who walks into the room. The strange thing is, this chaotic pattern often feels completely natural until you understand the true clinical difference between healthy empathy and hypervigilance based on trauma. Healthy empathy is a conscious choice. It's a bridge. It allows you to stand next to someone in their pain, understand their perspective, and offer a helping hand, while still keeping your feet firmly planted on your own emotional ground. When you have healthy empathy, you can feel for someone without losing yourself. You can hear their sorrow without becoming sorrowful yourself. Hypervigilance, however, is a violent flood. It's not a choice, it's an involuntary autonomic nervous system reflex. When you're hypervigilant, you don't just see someone else's pain, you literally become it. Your personal boundaries disappear entirely. If they're angry, you become anxious. If they're disappointed, you feel completely worthless. This is where most people misunderstand themselves. They mistake a total lack of emotional boundaries for a spiritual gift of cosmic connection. But true connection requires two separate, distinct people. If you're entirely consumed and erased by the emotional state of the other person, you're not connecting with them. You're being controlled by your past fear of their rejection, criticism, or abandonment. You're not loving them, you're managing your own fear. So, how do you begin to untangle your authentic self from the suffocating web of past trauma? The first step is acknowledging the truth without a single shred of judgment or shame. You must realize that your hypersensitivity was a brilliant, heroic mechanism designed by a younger version of you to survive a difficult reality. It served its purpose. It kept you alive. But you no longer live in that dangerous minefield. You're an adult now, and you possess the absolute power to build your own internal safety. Healing truly begins when you learn to pause when that familiar tightness enters your chest. The next time you feel the overwhelming urge to fix someone else's mood, to apologize for the air you breathe, or to absorb their stress, stop. Take a deep breath and whisper to your inner child, "This emotion belongs to them, not me. I'm safe right now." You have to practice the deeply uncomfortable art of letting people be uncomfortable. Let them be angry. Let them be disappointed. Let them sit in their silent moods. Their bad mood is not an emergency that you need to solve. As you slowly build solid walls where there used to be wide open doors, you'll discover something incredibly beautiful. You'll realize that you can still be a deeply kind, compassionate, and loving person without destroying your own mental health to keep others comfortable. In the end, stepping away from the identity of the wounded empath doesn't mean you become cold, heartless, or unfeeling. It means you're finally redirecting that beautiful, powerful, life-giving care toward the one person who has needed it most all along, yourself. You have spent your entire life standing outside in the pouring rain, holding an umbrella to protect everyone else from the storm. It's finally time to step inside, dry off, and sit by the warmth of your own inner peace. You don't need to earn your place in this world by being an emotional shield for others. Your value doesn't depend on how much pain you can absorb. Your value exists simply because you are here, breathing and alive. Think about your own life for a moment. Do you find yourself constantly parsing through text messages and absorbing the moods of those around you? How has this invisible radar impacted your peace of mind? Let's talk about it in the comments below. If this perspective resonated with your personal journey, please consider subscribing to Prism Mind. Together, we will continue to look through the glass, heal our past wounds, and truly understand our minds. Thank you for listening, and please take gentle care of yourself.